It's been 30 days since I unboxed my plants from Enliven Nursery and about 30 days since I transitioned them from living in soil to thriving in semi-hydroponics, and I'm so excited to show you what they look like today. We'll start with my variegated fiddle leaf fig. Here she is, looking absolutely glorious. This is a plant I was very nervous about when I received it because I thought at worst the plant is going to die, or at best it's going to get brown spots. You know those spots that a fiddle leaf fig gets? But look at this beauty. She is looking amazing, looking absolutely fabulous, and I would actually even say maybe looks a little bit better than when I got it. It is thriving in this semi-hydroponics environment, and it is living in Leca clay balls. And there is quite a fair bit of root action going on there. When you watch the video where I do the transition, you will see that when I pot the plant up in this Leca, there's actually no roots that you can see on the outside because all the roots are tucked in inside that pot, so you can't really see them. But you can see here that you can actually see roots that are visible on the outside. And there was one, hang on, there we go, there. That's a dangly root over there. So there's a lot of root action going on, which is really quite good. And to be honest, I actually want to say this one over here is a new leaf. I can't be exactly sure. I'd have to go back to the original video and literally count all the leaves. But I very much suspect that that's a new leaf, also because it's got that little edematous like patch, that little red patch over there. I think that might be new. But all in all, I think this plant has really transitioned very well. This one directly into Leca, I did fairly easy transition. Put it in my grow tent where all my other mystery plant series plants are, and really nothing else. The Clonex clone solution and root zone in the reservoir, and here we go. So the secret to this particular plant: clean the roots, chuck it in the Leca, and voila, it actually worked really well. But I think one of the things that really helped this plant take off and stay the way it was is the amount of light that I gave it. I literally put it in my grow tent where it's got that grow light shining on it for at least 8 hours. And the fact that it's variegated as well, clearly it needed that light. So what would be interesting is what's going to happen now if I decide to take it out of the grow tent and into an environment that's probably not so light. Is there going to be a difference with what those leaves look like? I'm very tempted to actually just put it on these shelves that I have behind me over here, because then it's right there. I can see it all the time, and it's easy for me to monitor how things are going with this particular plant. So yes, my variegated fiddle leaf fig. So for those of you who are watching this video first and haven't seen any other video from my mystery plant unboxing series, I've got a series where I ask nurseries to send me a collection of plants. Their choice. They can send me however many they want. They can send me any type of plant that they want. And the point of that is I'll receive those plants and I will transition them to semi-hydroponics, and I will come back in 30 days and show you what those plants look like. So it doesn't matter whether the plant is still alive, the plant is struggling. I come back and show you what they look like, warts and all. So in this particular case, that worked really well. I'll have a link in the description taking you to the playlist where I've got all those videos living. So that's plant number one. Let us look at plant number two. Look at this gorgeous mama. So obviously she's still alive. Isn't that something fantastic? Now, when I first got this plant, I was in absolute awe. I fell in love with it instantly. It's a Philodendron Congo nuclear. I had never heard of this plant before, never seen it before, but oh my, look at the variegated yumminess of this philodendron. I loved it. Now, you will notice that I have it living in a vase. And I decided to take this plant through the long method. And the reason I did that is I really wanted this plant to succeed. I really wanted things to go really well with this plant. And because it's a much larger plant, most of the time when I'm transitioning larger plants from soil to semi-hydroponics, I do like to give it a little bit of an intro to a water environment and get it through the long method. And what the long method does is it gets rid of all those roots that are not going to survive in semi-hydro anyway. It gives the plant a chance to develop new roots, and at the same time, the solution that I'm using in my long method, this one over here, I use Clonex clone solution, but you can use any rooting agent. This solution has nutrients, so it still continues to feed the plant, which is why I don't use water, plain water for my long method. I use a nutrient solution. So it's still feeding the plant, so the rest of the plant still looks gorgeous and is growing, but you also have a lot of root action going on. Now, I'm gonna come closer and I'm gonna show you exactly what is happening with those roots. So take a look at that. All this is new roots, this is new root growth. You can see all the really white roots, those are new. And the thing that's really lovely about this is you can actually see these bumps. There's some little bumps on there. There are bumps on there as well. So these are what are known as root primordials. That's where the roots come from. That's where the new roots come from. So I'm really happy with the root action that's going on here. And for a plant like this, when I'm doing the long method, this level of rootage is really what I'm looking for. So this root over here has got some new roots and they're a little bit on the longer side. That's what I'm looking for. So when I tug at this, you can see some of those roots actually come off, and that is absolutely okay. So those are the dead and dying sort of roots, and we absolutely expect that to happen. Now, when I showed you this plant the very first time, this leaf was there. I think this was the biggest leaf. There was a new leaf that was coming at the time, and that is this one. This is the latest leaf that this plant has. And yeah, but you can see over there, this is actually a new leaf that's coming on as well. So all in all, this plant has done really well. So this is the 30-day mark, and at 30 days, this is the kind of root action I'm looking for. And it's interesting to note, for those of you who hear me talk about Airstones all the time, I do like to use Airstones when I'm doing the long method because it replenishes the oxygen in that nutrient solution, and those roots just zoom out and develop so much faster. But I didn't use an Airstone in this, largely because I just don't have enough Airstones. I have so many Airstone things going around in my house. I didn't have enough for this one. But also, I just wanted to use this as a way to show you that you don't have to get an Airstone. If you don't have one, it's absolutely okay. It will still work. So, you know, this is what I got with just doing this. The important thing though is to change the nutrient solution at least once every week, or, you know, once every 2 weeks. I wanted to say fortnight. I love to say fortnight. But I realized that I do get a few comments in the comment section of my videos where people say to me, I'm trying to figure out what you mean when you say fortnight. It's very much a British English type phrase, I think. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I do get a lot of people asking me what I mean when I say fortnight. So fortnight meaning 2 weeks. So once every week, ideally once every 2 weeks if you can, just to replenish the nutrient in there and replenish the oxygen supply. So for this particular plant, I will say I was cheating a little bit. I cheated a little bit. So the whole goal was to do 30 days and then I'll come and show you what the plant looks like in semi-hydro. I cheated because it is technically not really in semi-hydro. It was going through the long method on its way to semi-hydro. But so in a sense, I could say I actually failed in my assignment with this plant because today is when this plant is actually going to go into the Leca clay balls, because only now is it good enough to go into the Leca. I didn't want to do the direct method because I was really afraid that the next leaves that were coming out were not going to be the best, because the plant at that point is just really trying to get those roots to absorb nutrient, it's trying to grow leaves, it's trying to do all the things at the same time, which I think, and I could be wrong about this, but you know, this is how I grow my plants and they seem to do well. But I think that, you know, giving the plant that stage to sort of reset, get the roots growing, get that nutrition helps it along. So let's pot this baby up in Leca. Okay, I've got my Leca, my clean Leca. I've got a 14 centimeter nursery pot, and I've got this pot here that I'm going to use as my cash pot. It's got no hole in there. Now, this is my plant here. I've given the roots a little wash, and that is what we are left with over there. So the first thing we're going to do is put a little bit of Leca at the bottom. Okay, that is just at the level of those first holes, which looks okay. But of course, the big thing that tells us what level we need to put it at is you put the plant in and see how that's going to sit. I like the level at which that plant is sitting, so I'm going to leave that there. I do like a plant to sit a little bit deeper. I don't know. It's always better to put the plant in a little bit deeper than you think it needs to be, because then if you need it to be a bit higher, all you do is pull it up a bit. So I fill that pot up with Leca. Okay, that's what that looks like. And I do want to lift that up a bit. So I just pull that up a little bit. And yeah, that makes me feel happy. And I just squeeze that pot. Just squeezing it allows that leca to settle in the pot. And you will then find that you can put more. Right, that is my plant all potted up in its leca pot. And as you can see, there's not much roots that you can see on the outside because, of course, all the roots are inside that pot. And I grab my cash pot and I'll just plonk that there and boom. How beautiful does that look? That is what my plant looks like. So I'm now going to put that same Clonex clone solution and root zone solution into that reservoir, probably for the next 2 weeks or so. And that's only because I've mucked around with the roots a little bit at this stage. So I want to get the plant roots back to where they were before I messed with them. And after that 2 weeks, I will then switch over to my maintenance nutrient solution, which in my case is foliage focus. So yeah, thank you very much, Enliven Plants. Enliven Nursery is how I would transition the Philodendron Congo nuclear into semi-hydroponics. So I probably get 50% for this particular plant, 100% for the fiddle leaf fig, 50% for this one. Although, you know what, I would still say 50% is a bit harsh. I would give myself higher. Would you have done anything differently with these two plants? Let me know what you would have changed, what you've done differently. Do you think I did the best I could? Let me know in the comments below. Go and watch the other mystery plant box series video. I'll see you there.